Oh, okay.
All right. Well, hi, I'm Ray Borman. I'm here with Diane.
And joining us are
Who's muted?
Rose, you're muted.
I'm Rose Fox, and I'm the other program co-chair.
And we're so happy that everyone is here at Readercon 31 this weekend, that we get to celebrate speculative fiction in all of its amazingness, even though it is virtual and we are not together in person. We are, but it's still an amazing experience to be doing this with you this weekend.
And we're so excited to hear from all of the new people who are attending ReaderCon for the first time. Welcome.
Hi.
This is really great, you guys. I'm not a morning person, so I'm going to be a little bit glazed. I know I set myself up by putting myself on the program for 10 a.m., but we wanted to answer all of your questions early on and to help anyone who's trying to find their footing before we get started for a very exciting day. So first, I think we want to go over the kind of the structure of the con, where you're going to find everything. It's all in Discord. That's the obvious place. We've got a channel called Channel Guide, which has descriptions of what all of the channels do and where to find things. And also, if you look all the way up at the top in Welcome, you can find some useful links to our program, our guide, our FAQ. A lot of your questions may be answered in there.
And just a reminder, safety, you can always reach out to the safety channel or message us at safety, and we will get back to you and address whatever concerns you have.
And for anyone who is new, I know all day folks over in Reg Help have been helping a variety of folks with registration and onboarding issues. And that includes folks who may not be as familiar with using social media and online platforms for discourse. And so just a reminder, any questions you have during the session, you can paste into the main track 1 chat channel. You do have to push enter after pasting a question in order for it to be captured and fed into the feed. But we want to help you enjoy the next 2 very full days.
All right. Waiting to see if there are questions, because we're mostly here to help you out. There's always the help desk channel if you need help later. And if you see us around the con, you can also just ask us stuff. We may be in the middle of putting out fires, but we will either help you out or point you to people who can. We have an amazing staff of volunteers, so many volunteers. I don't even know how many people are signed up for staff shifts, but like many.
We have more volunteers who have gotten involved pre-con setting things up and are currently active at con than I think in like the decade that I've been volunteering behind the scenes that we've ever had. It's really incredible. And then on top of that is the implementation of both our volunteer base and our attendees and our panelists. It's so incredible. To have that in place this year. Can't gush enough about it.
From the Discord channel, we have, it may be a comment from Alqua, maybe a comment rather than a question. Thank you for running it. I'm glad to be here. And Ian McLeod says, great to see something live. First of all, to know that all my efforts with this platform have worked. And second, to make contact with the afternoon over here in the UK.
From the UK. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
It's amazing. It's amazing how many people are joining us from all over the world. I haven't done, like, off the top of my head, I know we have panelists from at least half a dozen countries. And, not needing to write visa letters this year was a nice break. Usually, to get international guests from some places, we have to write a letter explaining why the United States government should let them in. I'm always happy to do that as part of my job, but it's amazing to have it be this frictionless frictionless experience. No one has to spend 18 hours on an airplane just to come to Readercon, though we are always very grateful when people do. You know, people just can log in. It's incredible. So
I had no idea that was actually part of the job.
That is part of the job.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I just didn't know.
I had to do a 2 phone calls with someone from the State Department in Cameroon to try to get someone in 1 year. It was, you know, it really is incredibly difficult. And we're just so happy that everyone can be here.
Full service convention.
We're doing our best.
Yep.
And so many people have also told us that the virtual format is more accessible, like from a disability perspective, whether that means that, you know, you don't have to try to fit your wheelchair through the door, or it means that, you know, everything is captioned, which is incredible. You know, all of that just makes it possible for more people to join us, and certainly for future conventions, very, very committed to keeping some kind of hybrid virtual aspect so that we can retain all of that welcomingness, all of that expansiveness, and Readercon can include more people, because that's what we've always wanted to do.
I think everyone is committed to that. The one thing over the last year that I've learned is, especially in my professional life, is the adding of people from other areas of the world, especially if you're doing research, is just absolutely incredible, and you feed off of each other. And Readercon is the same way, because when we're together, you know, the ideas, the creativity is just astounding, and the things that people have done and the projects that have gotten started at Readercon in the past have just been so exciting. So to be able to add, you know, a segment of people that either can't come for multiple reasons is just something that, you know, I'm going to go down making sure that this happens. I'm just stating that right now. There's going to be a hybrid.
How about you don't go down? How about we lift Readercon up?
Yeah, okay. Well, I was talking about me personally.
I know.
I'll be underneath everything.
Yeah, I feel like as I think the only member of the sort of higher tier staff who is not based in the US, you know, I have to fly in every year. And also, you know, I'm hard of hearing, I am partially deaf. And so accessibility is a really, really big deal to me. And so, you know, it's not just, we're not just doing this stuff, you know, for attendees, it's also for ourselves. And I think that that kind of representation is really important. I think it's really important to have people on staff who understand these issues personally and intimately, in order to really be able to say, no, this is important. Like, these are the things that we have to put more energy into and that we have to be thinking about. Because like, otherwise I have trouble attending and participating in my own con, you know, so.
And I have other disabilities, and at the moment, actually, my RSI is feeling it from all the typing. But you know, not needing to worry about, you know, can I walk around all day, or will my knee give out, has been really nice. But I wanted to say, you know, as a reminder to everyone who's dealing with this different kind of convention, it's also good to get up from your chair every once in a while. You know, we're not walking miles up and down the hotel corridor, but you know, if you're able to take the occasional stretch break, if you're typing a lot in Discord like me, take a typing break. And as always, good to just drink some water. If you can do that, and you know, take care of yourself in the ways that this new format demands. But we're definitely trying to make space for all of that. We have a literal space for all of that. One of our safer spaces is for disabled people. Been having some really nice chats in there. And we've also got rainbow, neurodiversity, and BIPOC safer spaces. If that sounds like something that you would want to join, to be with folks who understand your particular adventures and challenges and joys of coming to the convention, just ask in the safety channel for someone from the safety team to DM you. You don't have to explain why. You never have to talk in safety about why you want someone from safety to chat with you. And then in the DMs, just tell them which spaces you want access to. We're not policing that. If you say that you belong there, then you belong there.
I think in the future that maybe during the 5 minutes before a talk, we should we could broadcast something that says you now need to stand up. You are going from one room to another room. This is your time to stretch.
Take a stretch. Yeah.
I have to admit that even though I really try to do that, at one point I got up and said, when was the last time I stood up? So having reminders is probably a good idea.
I realized last night after everything finally calmed down that the last thing that I had to eat was at 6 a.m. that day. I hadn't eaten at all during the day because I'd just been busy doing 6 million things. So I was sitting there afterwards and I was DMing you, Ray, to talk about the captioning issues. And I was sitting there making pasta going this is the first food I've had all day. Oh my God. So don't be like me. Be smarter than me.
Be smarter than all of us. I had breakfast at 2:30 p.m. yesterday. It was a wild day.
High five.
And that is the downside of being virtual, because I've walked the halls and people have hopefully ironically said, thanks, Mom. But I've looked at people and said, you haven't had food in a long time, have you? And it's yesterday. So, we can't always see those cues virtually. So maybe we also need to have a reminder about the 521.
Yes. So make sure you get 5 hours of sleep, 2 meals, and if you feel so moved, 1 shower per day. I find it very refreshing. But, even though we're all not crammed into a hotel together, it's just good to be mindful that you still have a body. I forget.
Yep.
So
it's also good as an extension of that to maybe open a door or window and stick your head out and be there is an outside world too. Deep breath of fresh air, hopefully fresh air.
Hopefully.
Okay, returning to my computer station now.
Here is a preview of what the hotel will be like. All of the tubs, I think most of the tubs have been removed. It's walk-in showers now in all of the rooms. And I know that there were several people talking about how amazing that was. They didn't have to try to climb into a tub because that is a physical obstacle for them.
So it looks like we have a couple of questions in chat. First, I want to make sure everyone is aware that the video links for panels, for talks, for readings are all being posted in their particular channels. So if you go into, for example, the readings channel, you'll see something from a Readercon bot that says, heads up, folks, next session, gives a description of the session and says, visit this link to view it. That's how you view things. That's how you watch the panels, and that's how you watch the pre-recorded items. All of our panels are being done live over Zoom like this, so that's why we can answer your questions in chat. And then all of the other items are pre-recorded. So when you click that link, you'll start watching it from the beginning. And that's the best way to figure out what's happening and to join in with people and watching and discussing whatever it is. And it's we've done our best to schedule talks, even though they're pre-recorded, at the time when the person giving the talk is actually available to hang out in Discord, answer your questions. It's been pretty cool watching that happen in real time. So it's like you get access to the presenter while the presentation is happening, which is actually not something you can usually do. Usually you got to wait till the Q&A, and now the Q&A runs for the whole hour. So that's been pretty fun. If you're looking for something, check the program schedule for which room it's in. Our channels are our rooms. So if something is in main track 1, you should go to the main track 1 channel in Discord. A channel is anything with the little pound sign in front of it, the number sign. Those are our virtual spaces. And you go in there and look for the video link that the bot has posted and follow that to watch. And that's how you can access everything on the panel. And we're working on a good way to aggregate the links of the things that have already gone live. So if you missed something because you were watching something else or you were taking a nap, whatever, your time zone wasn't suitable for watching it at the time because you were asleep, then you can just go back and watch it later. And all of those links are going to be there for the next 6 months. So if you're struggling a little right now, deep breath. We're all getting used to something very new, but you're going to have a long while to watch that content and hopefully to hang out and talk about it, which is, of course, one of the great Readercon joys.
And here's from the chat. Renee DeCamerlis says, I'm so thankful for virtual Readercon. I haven't been able to attend the past for health and financial reasons. So this virtual aspect of the con going forward will allow me to attend each year. I am so extremely thankful to all of you for your hard work to make this happen. And also, Kevin Miller is having a hard time with his access, but and Bob Colby said, very glad there will continue to be a virtual aspect since I don't have much of a travel budget these days.
Well, thank you all. I appreciate you chipping that in. Josh, will you copy and paste those into the Zoom chat? Just, I don't want to be putting people's names out on something that's going to be recorded for all posterity.
But I do want to point out that Bob Colby is the person who came up with the idea of Readercon. And I'm so glad, because he's relocated, that he's able to attend this year. So, you know, glad you're here, Bob, and thank you.
Yeah, if you see Bob in the virtual hallways, give him a virtual high five. He's why we're all here 31 cons later.
I think it's also really exciting how many of our past guests of honor are here with us virtually as well this weekend. Even if they're not on the program this year, I mean, some have chosen to attend just as attendees. Some are on the program as well. It's a really exciting. This is just such an exciting year. There's a different kind of energy, and it's just so incredibly positive. I can't say more. You know, one thing we did choose to do, and you may have noticed or may not, but it's a little tech secret kind of thing. We actually chose to disable the DVR capability that YouTube has, which is when something is live, but you're able to go backwards. We really wanted everyone to be experiencing our live content kind of on the same timeline initially, so that you can participate in the chat together. And then at the very end, when we end our streams, it will become a recorded video that you can go back and forth in as much as you might like to. But that way, you know, when we're all live together, we really are all live together. And it adds to that community that we're trying to build, the same way you can't go back when you're sitting in the room with live presenters either. So hopefully that is adding a bit to the experience, or at least not breaking the continuity as we go.
I can't speak for anyone else, but yesterday I really felt like I was at Readercon, to the point where when I closed my laptop at 10:30 after the last panel ended, and suddenly I was in my living room, it was genuinely disorienting. And I really needed to take a moment and be like, where am I? I have been at Readercon for the last 4.5 hours. What happened? I'm suddenly in my house. And I really feel that we've captured that feeling, which, to be honest, I wasn't sure how we were going to do. I have not been going to virtual cons this year or last year. Shell has been doing incredible research, going to con after con. The last one I went to was the Nebulas, not this year, but last year, which is mostly hosted in, like, a lot of the social experiences are in video chat, and it's a completely different thing. So I was really like, how are we going to pull this off? How do you feel like you're at a con? And it turns out you just kind of make it up together. We imagine it together, and I told Shell last night that we Pygmalioned this con into existence, that we just took this concept and breathed life into it, and now it's walking and talking. And I'm so proud of everyone who's worked so hard to make this happen, to have this vibe. And honestly, seeing Diane and Ray at what is usually our convention hotel is like icing on the cake.
For those who haven't attended Readercon, the room that we're in has had a few different incarnations while we've been in this hotel space. I think originally it was for the restaurant. Oh, so when we first arrived, it was actually part of the restaurant space. Then they closed it off into a private room, and we have some years used it as a staff den, which I guess makes it not as visible to the public. But we also have used this room for coffee clatches. You know, it's just like we've built physical history of experience as part of Readercon, and we're just sort of expanding that into a virtual space too. So yeah, I can't help but grin, like, right? It's just it's so much
even
fun.
at 10 a.m.
Yeah. I was going to say one of the things that happened in one of the con suites was, I won't throw out names, but I was talking to a particular author who I had always regretted that we had not been able to take on one of his suggestions, which was to try to get people from other parts of the world involved in very specific, narrow series of panels. And we were talking, and I said, I want you to know that your idea from 5 years ago or whatever it was is something that Rose and Shell are absolutely talking about. And he looked at me and said, is it your time zone or their time zone? And it's like, well, it has to be their time zone. And I think that what a better way to make things more inclusive by having time zones appropriate to the people that are on the panels, and two, making our former guests of honor work even harder to come up with good ideas and more free swag. We're trying to negotiate something for some swag later on in the year. So hooray for guests of honor too.
We are always happy to take suggestions. I want to make sure that that's clear. I think we haven't publicized that so much, but please send them to us. We always accept email. program@readercon.org is the program chairs, me and Shell. Conchair@readercon.org is Diane and Ray. Drop us a note, anything that you think can be improved. Don't worry about whether it's like specifically a con chair thing or a program chair thing. We'll route it to the right people. That's fine. Just send us your thoughts, or again, buttonhole us in Discord and tell us what you're thinking in the ConSuite channel. If you're a program participant in the Green Room channel, anywhere that you spot us and want to chat, let's talk. The reason that Readercon is so good is that so many people work on it and so many different ideas go into it. And Shell and I joke a lot about being the same person because at this point we basically finish each other's sandwiches. But we really actually have a very complementary set of skills and ideas, and I think that's made some amazing synergy for the program. And then our entire program committee, like a dozen people work on our program. Everybody submits ideas. If you want to contribute your idea, please do for a future panel or a future program item. Go to readercon.org/contribute. And that's where you can put yourself forward to potentially be a program participant, suggest a program item. We rely so much on ideas from outside the ConCom, outside the program committee. We really need you to tell us what's inspiring you. I've already thrown that link at people twice this weekend, and we're just getting started.
You don't have to be a writer, editor, publisher, reviewer. Like, you don't have to be an industry member to contribute in that way. Like, if you're a reader and there's a particular thing that always excites you when you stumble on it in your reading adventures, and you think it would make for a good panel, or you'd like to hear experts on that talk about constructing that cool thing, or it could go in any direction, but we would really love that to come into us so we are aware that that would be interesting.
There's a reason why it's called Readercon, and some of our best panels have come from readers, which is actually all of us. So reader attendees.
Yeah, we're all here to read and to talk about reading. And yes, a lot of people who come are writers or publishing professionals, but we actually really try to not just make it a con that's all about writing. We want it to be about books, about the experience of books once they're done, and the experience of enjoying them and talking about them within a community, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the heart of what fandom really is. It's getting very engaged with these things that mean so much to us, that open our eyes, that change our world. So that's what we're aiming for with the program. And the more, as we were talking about being more inclusive and more welcoming, we get more different experiences of reading, of access to books, of print books versus digital books versus audio books. We would love to hear your ideas from your perspective, from your particular experience, especially if it's an experience that you don't see as well represented in Readercon's program. Please. You know, we are only a couple of people with only a couple of different ways of being engaged with books, and the more ideas that you send us from your own perspective, the better our program is. Absolutely, no question.
I just want to, sorry, I'm doing the thing that I've been doing all weekend so far, which is also looking at 6 million other windows and keeping track of 6 million other things, which is why I haven't been talking as much. But the link that just went into the main track one channel, the readercon.org/contribute link can be used to submit your application to be part of Readercon program. It can be used to submit your panel ideas. It can be used to submit if there's a talk or presentation you'd like to give. If you want to contribute an activity idea, because at the in-person convention, we also have an activities track that unfortunately we couldn't really reproduce very well this year in the virtual format. It is your one-stop shop for submitting your ideas for program stuff.
And don't be put off by the word application. Shell and I actually changed that language to recommendation.
Oh, right.
This year.
Sorry.
It's like old habits die hard, but we wanted to make it clear that you can recommend yourself or anyone else, and don't think of it as like a gauntlet to run. We don't care what degrees you have, what your day job is. We want to know what your ideas are. So come think fun, thinky things with us. And if you have awesome ideas, then that's what we care about. And if you talk in an awesome way about your awesome ideas, then that's great. And we would love to consider you for the program. So I'm really hoping that having a hybrid format lets us invite more people. Our invitation list is large. As you may have noticed, we have over 160 program participants on this year's program, which is pretty typical. And usually we have more like 9 tracks of programming to fit them all into. We're very condensed this year because it was our first year putting on a virtual con, though I still think this is an amazing program given all that. But once we're back at the hotel and doing in-person and online events, I'm hoping that with the help of our amazing volunteer team, we can really make a program that has space in it for so many more people. So tell us you want to be on it. We would love it.
So I'm gonna jump in and give the other side. So what was, you used this fabulous phrase? What was it? The come talk to us about booky.
Come think thinky thoughts with us.
Come think thinky thoughts. So we've talked a bunch about how to be a part of that front of the house piece of talking about the thinky stuff, thinky
thoughts.
Thinky thoughts with us.
It's a technical term.
There is also a very easy way to come be part of the back of the house with us, because in order to put on ReaderCon, like we mentioned earlier, there's so many volunteers doing all kinds of things that aren't part of the program designing and execution piece, but are so critical to having ReaderCon happen. And so if you replace the / of contribute with / volunteers, it takes you to how to get involved as a volunteer in all the other ways in which you can volunteer with ReaderCon to bring this event to life, both between conventions and at convention, whether it's in person or virtual. There's so many different aspects that can benefit from difference that we would love to have you be a part of, to get involved in whatever way feels natural and exciting for you. I've met such amazing people who do such different things in their day jobs, but we all share this love of talking thinky thoughts with each other and books and making ReaderCon happen, that it really
Well, and this year is, it's been even more obvious this year because moving to a virtual world, the number of extra people who volunteered, who've been around, and we know them, but all of a sudden it's their moment to shine, and it's their moment to help us. And we really appreciate everything that they've done. One of the comments that was made had to do with how the person was really appreciative of the fact that there was some consistency in using Discord between a couple of conventions, because every time they use Discord, whether it's as an attendee or as a panelist, they become more familiar. And I think that that's absolutely true. And I never really thought about, maybe this is something as con runners, we need to start talking to other conventions about, to see if there's a way we can standardize to make it easier in terms of platforms, to make it easier for people to attend and participate. I think it's easier to attend, but actually participating, hosting things, getting involved in discussions. I noticed that some people are having problems. And like this person said, every time you use it, it becomes more and more familiar. And we're going to keep that in mind. And to that end, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and if Discord is overwhelming you, you can always mute channels that you're not interested in. So with absolutely no offense to the fine folks in the bookshop and the fan tables, I have all of those muted because I'm focusing on taking care of things that are mostly dealing with program ops, and all of those channels lighting up with people having great conversations was just a little distracting. So if you need help, you can ask in the Discord 101 channel to learn how to mute those channels, and that will definitely improve your experience when you don't have things shouting at you all the time. You can also adjust your notification settings, so customize your Discord experience to work for you.
I would love to give a shout out for those areas too, though, especially our bookshop that is very different from being able to wander through and see the piles of books physically, which is almost like a hallmark experience, I feel like, of an in-person convention. But that just like in those other years, a lot of our the small press that is with us and really interesting book dealers, they're offering a variety of different kinds of special only to you Readercon attendee discounts. So even if you have a very small budget, you are likely to be able to find something in there that could meet whatever you're hankering for new fiction or old fiction that you're stumbling back across. And if you haven't gone yet, please check out the digital swag bag. Yes. Channel that has a link to our souvenir book, which is a gorgeous at this time PDF, but piece that has all sorts between the souvenir book and the swag bag of amazing additional materials to read and check out from SFF magazines and other publishers that aren't represented in our bookshop currently. I mean, it's just, we hope you'll take advantage of those things too, to kind of, whether it's while you're also at con and you want a different kind of in the moment reading experience, or to kind of keep things going after the event itself ends on Sunday. Those are really important parts of what ReaderCon is to us, and we hope for you as well.
And a great big shout out to Shell. We had talked about doing something digital, but Shell really made sure that we had what we needed. And I think it's a great selection of as Ray had mentioned, publishers and magazines that we normally don't see at ReaderCon. And this is a great opportunity to introduce yourself to whole new areas. And a few new friends, a few old friends too.
I do want to make one quick correction. I know that Rose had said that you can ask questions in Discord 101 channel, but our tech team is telling us that that is not actually set up to take messages from participants, only to deliver tips and links. If you need to ask questions about how Discord works, you can ask in help desk.
See, we're all evolving all the time.
We're all learning as we go.
We're all learning as we go. And see, now I have a mental note. I got to go change that in the channel guide. This is a work in progress. The reason we have a channel guide is because someone asked for one last night, and we were all like, what a great idea. Why don't we have that? So we went ahead and made it. That's an incredible thing about a virtual convention, is that we can do construction on the fly. We can build whole new spaces and develop whole new resources. We also have the guide at readercon.org/guide and the FAQ at readercon.org/all caps FAQ. And you can just go to readercon.org and find all of that stuff linked around. But if you have ideas for how we can improve things right now this year, don't wait. Tell us, ask in help desk, ping me directly, ping any one of us directly, in the consuite or wherever, and just be like, hey, I have this idea. Can you do this? Last night, someone emailed me and said, I know you didn't have the tech overhead to put together Con Opus this year, which is usually our guide that you can custom set to create your own personal program. You can check I want to see this, or I want to watch this, or I want to go to this, and then build your own program. And they said, so I put the entire program into a Google Sheets spreadsheet. And now you can highlight it and take out rows and add rows and do whatever you want with it. Is this something people could use? I was like, yes. What? And I realized that I could make the database system that we use for our program output something very similar. So now if you go to the program part of our website, readercon.org/program, there's a Google Sheet there. And you can check a box next to anything you want to see and then filter for check boxes. And there you go, your own custom program walking you through only the stuff you want this weekend. What a cool idea. And so I'm so grateful to the people who are having these ideas, who are bringing them to us from places that they've seen them elsewhere. You're making the experience better for everyone. Please contribute, tell us your great concepts. Even if we can't do it this year, we'll keep it in mind for future years. And you're really helping everybody, including us, because we don't have to come up with every single idea and try to figure out the best way to do things that have already been done very well before. All right, so are there a few other questions? People talking about going back and forth between program items to attend them and participate in them in Discord. You can definitely do that. It's also fine to just do one. One person on our tech team was watching both panels at once at one point last night with one in each ear, and I'm like, how? I don't know. So if that works for you.
Bad skills,
Whoa.
Apparently.
If that works for you, just keep them both up on mute and watch the captions side by side, however you like. But it's also fine to just do one thing at a time. I know it feels kind of incredible to finally, as we have all said for many years, be able to do all of Readercon at once. But it's also okay to spread it out. Remember, everything's being recorded. You get access to all the recordings for 6 months after the end of the convention. Not everything will be made public. There are a few program participants who have asked us not to make their program items public for whatever reason. So after those 6 months, they'll go away. So if you want to catch something, you have 6 months to do that. And then in February, most of the program will be made live and public, and then you can share the links with all your friends. Until then, we do ask that you not copy any of the links or download any of the videos and share them outside the Readercon space. We think our $25 registration fee is pretty reasonable for what you get. And we understand that because not everyone can pay it, we want to make a lot of things public if we can, but we want to create a special experience for the people who are our members. Like, that really is a membership fee, and you're a member, and we want to do something for you for your contribution and your membership. So keep those links unlisted, private for now, and just wait until February, and then you can tell everybody just how cool all this Readercon stuff was.
So there was a good question that came up in Discord around the ability to track back to where the chunk of cover happened relevant to parts of the view after the fact. I know, Rose, Shell, you both are sort of more active on Discord outside of Readercon than Diane and I are. Have you seen anything that helps with that piece of the puzzle? In your experiences?
Well, our panels are generally starting at 5 minutes past the hour, so that's a little bit of a legacy from the in-person hotel days when you're running from panel to panel and you need a few minutes when the doors open to let people out, go in, get settled. So you can kind of timestamp from there. Like if you're at a part of the video that's 20 minutes in, you can scroll back and look at the timestamps on the discussion for whatever was happening at 25 past the hour, and it should be more or less synchronous, but everybody's watching at a slightly different point. Even with the live stream, some people have delays and other issues, so it's always going to be a little bit chaotic. The other thing that you can do is search. There's a search box in Discord in the upper right corner. So if you hear someone mention Samuel Delaney, you can go up there and search for Delaney. And because we're very lucky that he's here with us this year, you might see some things that he's said in chat, but you can narrow it down. You'll see a list of like from this person, mentioning this person, and then a list of channels in which that word has appeared. And so look for it in the discussion channel for that program item, and or click around. You might be surprised how many people are talking about the work of Samuel Delaney, and you might find some other conversation that you didn't even know you wanted to stumble into.
So I actually saw a question that did not go into the main track 1 space. So it would not have been caught by our handy facilitator. And that was from a program participant who was saying, if I know that the panel I'm going to be on probably should have a content warning, what do I do about that? We're not adding content warnings to live panels. The pre-recorded stuff, we had people from program go through and watch everything and apply content warnings as needed because we had the opportunity to do that. With live panels, we don't know where the conversation is going to go, so we can't put them in advance. However, if you are a panelist and you know that the panel you're going to be on probably will go into some of that territory, you can always say so at the beginning of the panel, and you can also ask your facilitator person to say so in the chat so that people at least have some kind of heads up before they start watching.
And for the pre-recorded items, all those content warnings are in the YouTube description. So when you load up YouTube, the description is mostly compressed and you might not notice that it's there, but open the full description and content notes are at the end. Thank you so much to all of our volunteers who went through and just did an incredible job putting title cards on every single video and watching everything closely, putting content notes on. In some cases, program participants even made changes or edits in response to our questions about content. We're very grateful to everyone who did all of that. And then the captioning crew, which Ray headed up, thank you so much. You've just made a huge difference to accessibility. We all know auto-generated captions are not great. The ones on this video probably just said that I look like a fish and I smell like trash, and whatever whatever they come up with, it's always a little exciting. So I want to really thank everybody who went through and manually corrected all the captions for these talks that are often full of jargon, names, complicated words that the auto captioning is not going to know. And thanks also to the program participants who gave us lists of those words to help with the captions. It's really been an incredible team effort behind the scenes. Very, very appreciative.
Yeah, as someone who used to do transcription professionally before I started to lose my hearing, it takes 4 or 5 times as long as the actual length of the audio to do appropriate captioning for it. So, any program item that is an hour long, someone took 5 hours out of their day to caption that. It's a huge undertaking, and we had a small team who worked night and day to put it together. It's incredible what they managed to do, in a short amount of time. I am mind blown that people and the quality is really great of the captions that they did. It's just, thank you.
And to that end, just to kind of share a little bit more, another benefit of being international this year was that some of that crew represented an international volunteer team, so that we really were doing it around the clock. So we had instances of handoffs when people, life happens when you're doing volunteering. So that 5 hours, that's 5 hours of unpaid work in the evenings after the day job's done or whatever. It was really amazing to see, and we're committed to finding a way. We're still working through the research piece of it and the logistics of it, of revisiting all of those fabulous live captions that are happening during our live panels, and bringing some of that caption review in the post-production stage, so that over the next 6 months, you'll see an improvement in what is being displayed for the live things too. So thank you for your patience on that. But I throw in my appreciation to our caption reviewers, yes, as well as the folks who volunteered to get everything up into YouTube. So that was an area that huge new learning for me around, managing a YouTube channel on the back end, and all the little fields of different kinds of information. And what does this toggle mean? What does that toggle do? Which set of combination do we want in place to make the experience as seamless for our attendees as possible for what the end result will be? And it took a lot of people that I'm so proud of everyone and so happy with how things are turning out. I hope everyone feels the same way.
Yeah, I'll say that so I went to a lot of conventions specifically to try to do research for this one, and then kind of bring information back so that everybody could make some informed decisions about how to do what we wanted to do. And, we picked and chose what we liked from other conventions, but knowing what we wanted to have happen and actually making it happen were two very different things. So, it's one thing to say, oh, great, we'll just stream it through YouTube. And it's completely different to actually have to sit down and figure out all of the tech components that make Zoom talk to a YouTube live stream, and that make the permissions happen the way they're supposed to. And that whole thing. Our tech team is incredible and amazing. Thank you. Because like I said, it's one thing to say, this is how we want it to work. It's another to say, can we make that, and how do we make that?
But the thing that's really exciting, and I'm not boasting about this, but truly I'm saying thankful to everybody who works so hard, because I've actually gotten feedback from a couple of other convention chairs who said, how does your video, why does it look so good compared to ours? It was like teamwork.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
But to that end, if you are on a planning team for another convention or another event that you want to know a little bit about that behind the scenes stuff, the choices we made, the literal, which widgets did you activate, please let us know. Again, you can DM conchairs at you can DM any of the four of us. You can also email us, conchairs@readercon.org, program@readercon.org. You can also let the folks at the help desk know that is something of interest to you, and the appropriate person can follow up. We would love to share our knowledge and make it easier for others to do awesome things that they aspire to do virtually in this crazy time that our world is going through right now. And in general, actually, right?
Yep. Yes.
Really quickly, I think we're coming up on time, but so I wanted to get in before the cutoff that I believe the sort of the head of putting together a lot of how the Discord worked, Hobbit, is planning to run a tour of the back end at some point over the course of this weekend. So feel free to ask about that in the help desk if you are someone who's interested in specifically reproducing some of the stuff that got happened. Great, I can English. That we did in Discord.
Yep, that is happening at 3 p.m. Eastern time
today.
But I get the sense that he would probably do it at any time to help those who would like to do something similar. And then again, if questions don't get answered through that tour or whatever other means you use on any front, what you're seeing and experiencing today, we want to enable more of things like this, right? Because this is such a wonderful experience, and just Thank you for
Yes,
being at
thank you.
ReaderCon 31. We're so happy that a ReaderCon 31 could happen, and just keep having fun and let us know whatever we can do to help you have that fun. Is that
Perfect? We're here for you, but you're also here to help us. So make sure you send those emails in.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Diane, Ray, Shell, for taking time to do this with one eye on the Tech Ops chat and putting out fires as we're here. But isn't that the way? So thank you, everyone, for taking the time, and I'll see you around the Discord.
Thank you for running this panel, basically.
It's what we do. It's what we do. What's one more thing to run?
Right? Of course.
See you in Discord, everybody.
All right. Bye.